For much of cinema's 120 or so years, films were nearly always viewed in theatres, on big screens and in the dark. The image was big and bigger than us, and it would unfold before the audience without interruption. There were always some exceptions to theatrical exhibition, of course. Educational films that might be screened in schools or colleges, and other special purpose films. And of course there were home movies, designed to be viewed in the home by a small audience who already, in a sense, knew the story. But viewing films, movies, in purpose-built theatres was the norm. In the 1950s, with the domestic introduction of television, movies came inside the home, and those pictures got smaller. But digital and electronic screening and viewing devices have radically altered the ways that we view films, and they've also impacted on what we can view in films. The control options available through electronic and digital screening devices that mean that we can pause a film, halting or delaying its forward movement. We can slow down or pause a film so that we can focus on a particular image or shot, or a detail in that shot. What can happen when we do this? Digital viewing technologies and devices enable us to interrupt the narrative and shift our attention from the story to something in the image we might not have otherwise noticed. We can pause the film and focus instead on a shot, or on a detail in the shot that might reveal something about the film's production, or that might direct our attention away from the film's story to the performer, the set, a prop, a gesture or an expression. Interrupting the film's movement, pausing it, slowing it down, repeating it, can make us see the film differently. It becomes possible to see aspects of the work that might be invisible when the film is projected at standard speed. The film theorist Laura Mulvey describes this as delayed cinema. Digital spectatorship, she says, can enable delayed cinema in two senses. Firstly, digital spectatorship can create a form of delayed cinema because the act of pausing or otherwise interrupting the flow of the film can reveal things that might not have been noticed previously. We might call this a kind of delayed revealing. In this sense, delayed cinema, interrupting the film, delaying its forward movement, can bring something to our attention that we might not have otherwise noticed. But it is also delayed cinema because digital spectatorship provides the possibility of delaying the film's movement itself. Delaying a film in this sense can also remind us that film is an illusion of movement. Think about celluloid film. Thousands of still images projected in quick succession to create the illusion of movement. Digital spectatorship can foreground the tension between movement and stillness that is at the heart of cinema. In this sense, digital spectatorship, Mulvey argues, provides opportunities for us to see old films in new ways. Before video and digital images, you could not pause a film when it was running to look more closely at something. If you stopped a celluloid film as it was running through the projector, the image would burn. With celluloid, the only way that you could look closely at a single image or a single frame in a film was at the editing table. Now, most of us pause films and other moving images we are watching all the time. Does this delaying work in the same way for all kinds of moving images? Is it different, for instance, for fiction and documentary? And what if it was a home movie of you as a child, something you had not seen before? What if it was footage of a news event such as a disaster or an accident? What about the video you're watching right here now, an animation? If you pause this now, what else might become visible? Does it work the same for an animation? Think about when you can and when you can't pause or interrupt a film, and when and why you pause a moving image. In her discussion of delayed cinema and digital spectatorship, Laura Mulvey distinguishes between what she calls a possessive spectator and a pensive spectator. Look at the passages where she talks about the possessive spectator and the pensive spectator, and think about when and how you like to watch films.